All right, so in this video, we want to find the quadrant of the terminal arm. We want to find the related acute angle, and we want to find the sine of the ratios over here. Now, you typically want to solve this using your cast rule. So remember, this is 0, this is pi over 2. You have pi over here, and then this is 3 pi over 2, and then this is 2 pi. One entire circle is 2 pi. So which quadrant does 3 pi over 4 lie in? Now, typically as a grade 12 student, you should be able to tell this from the fractions itself. 3 pi over 4 is basically between pi over 2 and pi. But if you can't do fractions in your head, I'll show you an easy way to do this first one as well. I won't be doing this for all the questions, but I'll just show it for this one over here. So we know that pi over 2 is the same as 0.5 pi, and 3 pi over 2 is the same as 1.5 pi. So if you just do 3 divided by 4 in your calculator and you turn that into a decimal, it's 0.75. And we know that 0.75 is between 0.5 and 1. So you can always do it like that if you struggle with fractions. But again, as a grade 12 student, you want to be able to do this kind of fractions without a calculator. You should be able to do this question without a calculator. So I know that I'm in quadrant 2. And then my principal angle here is 3 pi over 4. So my principal angle is quadrant number 2. Next, I need to find the acute angle, which is always a small angle with the horizontal line. So to find this, I know that this whole thing is pi. So if I do pi minus 3 pi over 4, I'll get my acute angle to be pi over 4. Again, if you can't do that mentally, you can always put it in your calculator. Pi minus 3 pi over 4 is just 1 pi over 4, which is basically pi over 4. But again, you should be able to do this mentally. And to determine the sine, we know that this is a sine ratio, and we know that sine is positive in this quadrant because it's S. So according to our cast rule, so we know that this question, this is going to be a positive ratio. Basically, if you type in sine 3 pi on pi over 4 in your calculator, you'll get a positive number. So let's do it for the rest of the examples now, but I'm going to do them a lot quicker and basically what's expected of you in grade 12 to be able to do these mentally rather than using a calculator. So 5 pi over 3 is slightly less than 2 pi. I know it's going to be in quadrant number 4. That's my principal angle right there, 5 pi over 3. So we're in quadrant 4. My acute angle is this tiny angle here. So a full circle is 2 pi. So I'm going to do 2 pi minus 5 pi over 3, which is just pi over 3. And cos is positive in this quadrant as well because it's a C here. Cos is positive there according to cast rule. Let's do this third example. 4 pi over 3 is slightly more than 1, but slightly less than 1.5. So I know I'm in quadrant number 3 over here. Principal angle here is 4 pi over 3. Now we need to find the acute angle here with the horizontal. So I know that if I take the whole big angle and I subtract pi, well, let me write the quadrant first, quad 3, to find my acute angle. Like I said, it's 4 pi over 3 minus pi. That's going to give me the small acute angle over there. This is again pi over 3. And I know according to my cast rule, tan is positive in this quadrant. I have tan over here. So again, my sine is positive. Let's go to the next three examples. Sec 5 pi over 6 cos 2 pi over 3. And cot 7 pi over 4. Start with this one over here. So I know that 5 pi over 6 is slightly less than 1. I'm going to be in quadrant 2. There's my principal angle right there, 5 pi over 6, which makes my acute angle pi over 6. I just did pi minus 5 pi over 6. And then according to cast rule, only sign is positive in this quadrant. Sec, the reciprocal of sec is cos. Cos is negative in this quadrant, so sec is also going to be negative in that quadrant. Cos 2 pi over 3. 2 pi over 3 is again in quadrant number 2. 2 pi over 3 right there is my principal angle, which means my acute angle is just pi over 3. And cos we know is negative in this quadrant again, same as the last one. And last question is cot 7 pi over 4. 7 pi over 4 is slightly less than 2, so we're going to be in quadrant number 4. The acute angle is 2 pi minus 7 pi over 4, which is just pi over 4. And then if we look at cast rule, we know that the reciprocal of cot is just tan, and we know tan is negative in this quadrant. It means that cot is also going to be negative in this quadrant.